What's up guys? Welcome back to Easy Breezy Vegan, where I make veganism easy breezy to digest. January is also known as the month of Veganuary, where people decide to adopt a vegan diet for the first month of the year. This challenge is great because it gives people who might possibly be on the fence about going vegan an opportunity to try it out in a non-committal sort of way. It's a great way for people to try out a vegan diet and possibly learn some new habits and recipes along the way. One thing that can be challenging when adopting a vegan diet is figuring out what items to keep in stock in your kitchen. In general, most average Americans who follow a standard American diet keep a lot of the same essentials stocked in their kitchens. I know that before I went vegan, I always had milk, eggs, butter, frozen chicken breasts, frozen ground beef, bread, tortillas, peanut butter, cereal, and pasta noodles stocked in my kitchen basically at all times. And in doing so, I knew that I had what I needed to make a number of basic meals at all times. But when I decided to eat a vegan diet, I no longer knew what these essential staples were that I should keep on hand. I ended up doing some research and eventually learned what items were important to keep stocked. So if you've recently decided to go vegan, are trying to eat more vegan meals, are going vegan for Veganuary, or are thinking about maybe going vegan, then hopefully this video can help you to get started with what to keep stocked in your kitchen. Before we get started, don't forget to hit that like button one time for me, and if you're vegan, or maybe you're just vegan curious, then make sure to subscribe so you can stay up to date with all of the easy breezy things. Now, this list isn't a complete grocery list or anything, it's just the main things to keep on hand so that you can throw together a quick meal in a pinch. Having these items on hand also makes it a lot easier if you end up trying to cook online recipes. Some of the items on this list might not be suitable for people with allergies, so just keep that in mind if you do have certain food allergies. These are just some of the things that I personally always keep stocked in my own kitchen. Now, let's get started. So, most of my meals contain one or more of the following: a starch or a green vegetable, and a bean or legume. Not always, but a lot of the time for like a quick meal, I just throw these things together in a bowl. One of my favorite easy meals right now is potatoes, broccoli, and pinto beans. I also make a lot of rice, broccoli, and edamame, and yeah, a basic meal for me is really just shuffling through these main things and mixing them together in different combinations. All right, first up on the list, let's talk about starches and grains. So it's really important to keep some sort of grain on hand at all times. They're tasty, they fill you up, and they can be paired with so many things. Here are the ones that I always keep stocked: rice, quinoa, or farro. There are so many different meals that you can make with these. What I like to do is make a large batch of one of these grains for the week, and then I use it for the different meals each day. It makes eating whole food super easy because I can just reheat the leftovers. Another food to keep stocked up is potatoes and sweet potatoes. Now, I know I'm not the first person to claim that they basically have a romantic relationship with potatoes. Or maybe I am. Anyways, potatoes are awesome because they're so versatile. There are so many ways to cook them, and they make the perfect base for a variety of meals. I personally love cutting potatoes into 1-inch cubes and throwing them in the air fryer till they're nice and crispy. I do this often with both russet potatoes and sweet potatoes, so make sure to keep some potatoes in your kitchen. Another grain to keep on hand is pasta. Who doesn't love pasta? Pasta is awesome. It's relatively cheap, it's filling, it's delicious, it's fairly quick to cook, and you can make a ton of it and eat it for leftovers. And that's why I always make sure to keep stocked up on some pasta noodles. I also make sure to keep some marinara sauce on hand so I can make some quick, easy spaghetti and pair it with a vegetable. In fact, my first official vegan meal was actually penne marinara with a side of asparagus. So you can't really go wrong with pasta. Just make sure to check that the noodles you buy don't contain any egg. Another grain you're probably already familiar with keeping on hand is bread. Bread, along with potatoes and beans, is one of my top 3 favorite foods. I don't think I need to explain how many things can be made with bread. But one thing that definitely saved me, especially when I first went vegan, was peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. They are the perfect snack to carry along with you when you aren't sure when you're gonna be getting your next meal. And don't forget bread's cousin, the tortilla. I make sure to keep tortillas on hand always. This is probably because I'm a breadaholic and I like to eat bread in all of its glorious forms. But it's also because tortillas go with everything. You can eat so many things with tortillas. What I like to do a lot of the time is eat the bowls that I make with tortillas and just make a little burrito or a wrap out of it. And last in the grain and starch department is rolled oats. Oatmeal is literally what I eat for breakfast every day. If oatmeal ain't your jam, then maybe having a cereal on hand for breakfast would be more your style. Regardless, making sure that you have a go-to breakfast item on hand is super important so that you can start off your day right. Now let's move on to beans, legumes, and nuts. Beans are one of my favorite foods, and having canned beans in stock makes cooking vegan meals a lot easier. Now, I've always noticed that people either love beans or they hate them. Beans are a really important part of a balanced diet, so I totally understand if you don't love them, but I do think it's important to find at least one kind of bean that you do like and keep it in stock so you can add it to bowls and other meals. My husband never used to eat beans before we became vegan, and now he literally eats them every day. So maybe with time you'll grow to like them. The beans that I usually keep in my pantry are pinto beans, garbanzo beans, and black beans. I also make sure to keep some edamame in my freezer. Cycling through different beans in my meals adds a totally different vibe to each meal, and it just keeps things from getting boring. Tofu isn't something that I eat all the time, but I do enjoy to cook with it from time to time. Having tofu or some other equivalent such as seitan or tempeh is a good idea because it can sometimes add a little more heartiness to meals. And it can possibly make the transition to veganism easier when your mind still can't give up the idea that a meal's main component should be some sort of meat. Another option is to keep some vegan meats on hand. Before we move on from beans, let's talk about hummus. Hummus is ground up chickpeas and it's great to keep in the house. You can add it to salads, spread it on sandwiches and burgers, and you can dip veggies and chips in it. So hummus is definitely something that I usually like to keep stocked in my fridge. Nuts are next on the list. But which nuts? These nuts? Nuts are great to snack on and they contain a lot of healthy fats. Keeping an assortment of nuts on hand is a good idea because they're good for you and they're a nice snack that can help curb cravings. And they fill you up pretty quickly too. You can also use nuts to create a lot of yummy vegan sauces when cooking. I usually like to keep a nut mixture on hand for stacking and then blanched almonds on hand for making sauces. Speaking of nut sauces, let's talk about peanut butter. Like I said earlier, peanut butter and jellies are a great snack to bring with you. So peanut butter is a great food item to keep stocked up on. You could put it on toast, dip your apples in it, put it in your smoothies, and you can make sauces when cooking with it. Another nut sauce that we like to keep on hand is tahini. Tahini is just ground up sesame seeds. I never really used to use it, but now I always make sure to keep it stocked. My husband loves to add it to his bowls and it's super yummy on sushi. It also comes in super handy when cooking online recipes, so I'm not sure if this one is essential for when you first go vegan, but once you get the hang of it, this is a lovely item to have on hand, and now I always make sure to have it in stock. Alright, let's move on to vegetables. Now, I think you should try to have as many vegetables on hand as possible, but I'm just going to cover the main ones that you might want to keep in your kitchen. First up is broccoli. I personally love broccoli. I'm pretty sure I eat it every day. It really is just my go-to vegetable. I usually just batch cook a ton of it and then add it to different meals for the rest of the week. It works in so many different bowls and pairs well with different flavor profiles. Another green I always keep on hand is kale. Now we buy a lot of kale. We add it to our smoothies every day, but we also cook with it a lot and we'll add it to random dishes. We also really love to make salads with it. Now, I think you should keep whatever green you prefer on hand. Whether it's spinach, kale, collard greens, or mixed greens, whichever you prefer, make sure to keep it in the kitchen so you can get your recommended dose of greens. Carrots are another vegetable we make sure to not ever run out of. We put carrots in our smoothies every day, we feed our kids a serving of carrots every day, and carrots are just a yummy snack when dipped in hummus, and we cook with carrots a lot too. They also have a pretty good shelf life as far as veggies go, so maybe consider keeping carrots in your fridge too. One last vegetable that we always have is onions. Onions are great to cook with because they add so much flavor to any dish. They also add a lot of crunch to salads, so it might be a good idea to keep onions handy, especially if you're planning on doing a lot of cooking. Now let's talk about veggie's sweeter sister, fruit. It's a good idea to just keep a variety of fruit in the house at all times so you have something sweet to snack on. Now we cycle through a number of different fruits throughout the year as the seasons change, but there are a few that we always have. Number one is bananas. Bananas are a great snack, and they come with their own wrapper, so they're easy to carry with you. We always keep bananas in our kitchen because we usually add them to our smoothies, but they're also good to keep on hand too for quick, easy, and portable snacking. Another must-have fruit for us is apples. My husband eats 1 to 3 apples every day, so I really don't have a choice here. We also put them in our smoothies every day, so we have to keep a butt-ton of apples in stock. You might also want to do this because they make a quick, yummy, sweet snack and are also easily portable. The next fruit on the list is a duo, lemons and limes. Now, I'm not some psychopath who just bites into lemons or limes. Psycho! but I do put lime and or lemon on literally everything. I try to be mindful of my salt intake, and lemons and limes help out tremendously. They add so much flavor to any dish, and they come in really handy when cooking recipes. The last fruit we always have is avocados. Avocados are great because they contain healthy fats, and they're a great topper to so many dishes. You can add them to salads and put them on toast. Now, I personally make a lot of guacamole, and will add that to different dishes throughout the week. So avocados are definitely a great fruit to have around. And now it's time to talk about some of the seasonings and other things that we make sure to keep in the pantry. First on the list is plant milk. Plant milk is great to keep around as it is used for so many recipes. We also like to add it to our coffee and tea. It's also great to add to smoothies, and you can't really have cereal without some sort of plant milk. Another thing we keep on hand, usually for cooking, is soy sauce. Soy sauce is used in a lot of recipes, and it's a great way to add some flavor and moisture to so many dishes. If soy sauce ain't your jam, another great way to add moisture and flavor to your dishes is vegetable broth. If you wanted to check out some vegan recipes, go ahead and click on the playlist above. We also make sure to keep apple cider vinegar and balsamic vinegar on hand as well. Both come in super handy when cooking online recipes, and they are a great way to add some delicious flavor to dishes. One super vegan thing to have in your cupboard is nutritional yeast. I know I didn't hear about this seasoning till after I went vegan, and there are some vegans who are borderline obsessed with it. I am not personally obsessed with it, but I do need it sometimes for cooking, especially for a lot of random recipes that I make. All in all, I do think it's a great seasoning to keep in stock because it adds a unique cheesy flavor to a lot of dishes. And who knows, you might be one of the people who becomes obsessed with it. It's also a good idea to have some sort of oil to cook with, or vegan butter. Now, I generally don't cook very often with oil or butter, but there are a lot of recipes that call for it, so having it on hand is pretty essential. The rest of the items on the list are just seasonings, but using the right seasonings can really elevate the taste of your dishes. So I'm just gonna go through them pretty quickly. Now, I personally have so many different seasonings in my cupboard, but I'm only going to mention the ones that I basically cook with every day. Salt, pepper, and that's it for seasonings. Just kidding. There's also garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, cumin, turmeric, and chili powder. Alright, so those are the main food items that I make sure to keep stocked in my kitchen. Now, hopefully this list gives you a good idea of staples that you might want to keep available on your vegan journey. If you have other vegan staples that you just can't live without, let me know about them in the comments below. If you are going to be participating in Veganuary, I wish you good luck. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and make sure to take it easy breezy and be vegan. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!